The 2014 Diversity Roundtable at Georgia Tech. Inclusion means everyone is in. The missing conversation. In the summer of 2014, the Georgia Tech campus was once again privileged to host the Diversity Roundtable. This year's theme focused on the critical role white men play in implementing diversity strategy and achieving inclusive excellence at Georgia Tech. The program looked to fully engage white men in diversity and warmly welcome them as important diversity partners. The heart and soul of this event begins with its Director for Cultural Diversity and Inclusion, Cheryl Coalfield.
The Diversity Roundtable is an annual opportunity for a community conversation. It is an opportunity for us to break bread together, for us to be with one another, in each other's presence, in one another's presence. It's an opportunity for us to talk about real issues, to be vulnerable, to be brave, to be courageous, to tell the truth about things that need to be talked about. One of our goals in culture, diversity, and inclusion is to create a culture of dialogue. This simply means that we know it's important to get people talking and give people permission and space to talk. We live in silos oftentimes at Georgia Tech, and this gives us an opportunity to come together and to discuss what's real. Language is life, so to be able to speak is fundamentally important.
Pearl Alexander served as an excellent facilitator for the event. Her message was for the audience to listen with open hearts and open minds.
So the Diversity Roundtable is designed to be a community conversation where we bring various members of our diverse community together to talk about sensitive, important, or hot topics in the diversity and inclusion space. It's designed to be an experience where people come and they listen a little bit, they get some information that prepares them to enter into dialogue with one another. And so that's the key component of what we do, is set up these various conversations in a very methodical sort of a way. And what I love about the Diversity Roundtable is it really gives us a chance to be thoughtful together. Oftentimes, when you're working to build community and to move an organization forward, meaningful dialogue is one of those things that's sometimes missing. You know, we talk an awful lot, right? And people think because we're talking and we're talking and we're talking that we're communicating, but not so much. And what this gives us a chance to do is come together and slow down, really slow down, and focus in a very thoughtful way, have conversations with one another that are going to spark some type of transformation.
Those stories had an impact on everyone in attendance. The storytellers spoke from the heart with their experiences dealing with diversity, both growing up and in their professional careers. The keynote speaker was Chuck Shelton, Managing Director of the Great Heart Leader Labs. He related a story of his mother, who volunteered him for the Head Start program when he was growing up, which taught him early about diversity and relationships with others.
Grew up in the suburbs of Seattle. We went into the city 3 hours every Monday. I got to hang out with boys who were growing up in very different circumstances from my own.
Stephanie Ray, the Associate Dean of Students at Georgia Tech, spoke of growing up finding common ground as a black woman and as a Republican.
It's about how people can make uninformed decisions about people before they even get a chance to know them.
Chris Brissell, Director of Diversity at Price Waterhouse Cooper, talked about leaving an all-white basketball team in the 3rd grade to play with an integrated team in another part of Philadelphia.
I said, not really, Dad. I probably gave a lot of thought to it, but I never really came to a clear conclusion. He said, I did that because I knew you were going to develop muscles that you didn't even know you had. And I'm not talking about your basketball skill.
Former Georgia Tech football player and retired Georgia Power Vice President of Diversity, Frank McCloskey, realized later in life he didn't recognize that he had played and worked in an all-white environment.
And looking down, I now plainly saw and recognized for the first time the Confederate battle flag crossing in front of the Rambling Wreck at the center of the 20-yard line, and also prominently displayed in the south end zone as part of the state flag, which was flying directly below the United States flag. I know it's inconceivable for African Americans to believe me when I say I never noticed. There is no defense I can offer other than total honesty.
Chris Mirquat, a partner at Alston & Bird, spoke from the heart with a passionate story about white men and the privileges they were afforded without even knowing what it was all about.
Ours is the luxury of not knowing about race, not feeling the weight of a shackled people flowing through our veins, not shaping the fate of the next in line if we fail at school or work, not knowing hate or blame or the young black male curse of fighting unearned shame each day just to keep it from showing. Ours is the luxury of not knowing. Ours is the luxury of not speaking about race, not having to pretend the voices of pain, the shrieking we hear at night, has reached its end or should be tossed away as crazy. Not believing we must protect what's ours by calling our brothers lazy or dumb or unworthy of respect. Not silencing truth in our critiquing. Ours is the luxury of not speaking. Ours is the luxury of not even thinking about race. Not rising from our beds each morning, suiting up and slinking out with a big old label on our heads that's dragged around to the workplace, the jewelry store, the traffic stops to define us wholly by our race in minds of bosses, teachers, cops who prejudge men without even blinking. Ours is the luxury of not thinking.
One of the most emotional events of the day came when the Dean of Students, John Stein, captivated the audience with his story of struggle for both himself and his family. He explained as he grew into manhood, his possibilities for success were limited, but he persevered and became the man he is today. Nobody had ever heard that story about him until this day.
I have staff that work with me day in and day out. They know me. Some know me for many years. Some our newer staff know me for a year or less. And what they came up, and well, they thanked me for doing what I did, but many of them came up and said, we learned more about you today than we have, working with you for the last 8 years, 7 years, or past year. So, and I think they really appreciated that. It was a window into my life that, they hadn't seen.
I've learned many life lessons. But the most important lesson has been to never judge a book by its cover. Never assign a set of limitations on someone based on how they look, where or how they grew up, where they attended college, or even if they attended college. I've also learned the importance of giving back and paying it forward in life.
So I coached his story. He wrote one story and then I coached it to Power and Impact. So I was in love with him, during the time because he was coachable, because you are going to cry. I had warned him about everything that was going to happen, so I was sitting there like his mother. Like, come on, John, you can do this, you can do this.
It would be easy to conclude or think Wow. He made it in spite of his circumstances. But I challenge you to reframe that thought to, he made it because of his life circumstances. Thank you.
Throughout the day, the facilitators, storytellers, and audience bonded as the message of teamwork and the success that comes from the strengths of a diversified workplace was the call to action. As the Georgia Tech community moves forward, taking with it the message that success comes from everyone from all walks of life, it will leave a legacy for those generations who will come after. The message is, we are one.
When all you got is hurt, one love, one blood, one life, you got to do what you should. One life with each other, sister.